In this lesson, we are going to talk about properties and decimals. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the properties of addition. So we have the commutative property, the associative property, and the identity property of addition. But we also have those same properties for multiplication, so we're going to talk about the difference between them as well. So commutative property tells us that the order doesn't matter. We will still get the same answer. And so, for example, we have addition. We're talking about addition. So I'm going to say 4 plus 5. And what this property tells us is that 4 plus 5 is 9, and the order doesn't matter. So if I said 5 plus 4, we will still get 9. So the commutative property tells us if we rearrange the numbers, it's still going to give us the same answer because 4 plus 5 equals 9, and 5 plus 4 equals 9, and so we still get the same answer. Okay? The associative property, it tells us that the grouping can change. So associative property tells us the grouping can change and that it's still okay. Okay? So if I have 1 plus 2 plus 3, and I'm just going to write that one more time. 1 plus 2 plus 3. Associative property says, well, we can add 1 and 2 first and then add the 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and then 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay? Now on the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the grouping with the 2 and the 3, which means I have to add that first. So 2 plus 3 is 5, and then that other 1 also gives us 6. And you can see here we got the same answer. So that's the commutative property and the associative property of addition using operation addition. Now, identity property, I like to think of it as giving us the original number back. When we add, okay, and I'm going to use, for example, the number, let's say 5. What number do I have to add to 5 to give us 5 back? Okay, and the answer to that would be 0. If I add 0 to any number, we get that original number back, the identity. Okay, so the identity property is any number, so I'm going to say n, for any number we want, plus 0 will be that any number. Whatever number we want. We can put an 8 there, we can put a 6 there, and if we add 0, we will get that number back. Okay. Now the same thing is true for these properties here, the commutative property, but instead of addition, we're going to use multiplication. So commutative property says the order doesn't matter. So if I have, let's do 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. And 4 times 3 is also 12. So it doesn't matter the order. We will still get the answer 12. Associative property is also the grouping for the same thing. I'm going to just use the same numbers. 1 times 2 times 3, and 1 times 2 times 3. In the first one, I'm going to group these two together. And in the second one, I'm going to group the 2 and the 3 together. Okay, we should get the same answer by the property. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times this 3 is 6. And on the right side, we should still be getting 6. 2 times 3 is 6, and we have to bring down this 1. So 1 times 6 is 6. And you can see here, we got the same answer. Okay, so we're saying the grouping doesn't matter. And the identity property of multiplication, what do we have to multiply a number by to get that original number back? So I'm going to make an example here. If I have 4 times what number will get us 4 back? That's the identity. And the answer here would be 1. 4 times 1 gives us 4. 5 times 1 gives us 5. It gives us that original number back. That's how I like to think of it. So the identity property of multiplication is multiplying by 1. The identity property of addition is adding 0. That's the important part. So I'm going to write that down right here. The identity property of addition is adding 0, and the identity property of multiplication is to multiply by 1. Now, this is really helpful for our mental math. When we know these properties, we know that our mental math will be easier, okay? So the question I want to do as an example is example 3. So if we were just to multiply like right in a row, 4 times 8 and then multiply by 25, which is happening here. That's what's happening here. It's telling us multiply these two because they come first, and then whatever you get, multiply by 25. But 4 times 8 is 32, and we want to try to do this mental math. Can you do 32 times 25 using mental math? That's a little bit difficult, even for me. So what we can do is think about our properties that won't change our answer, and we can say, well, if I use the commutative property, I can switch these two around, right? So I can do my new problem is 4 times 25 times 8. And that helps our problem get easier, because what we should be doing is what happens first. So 4 times 25, or we can group them. 4 times 25 is 100, and 100 times 8 is 800. So this helps us, our properties help us with our mental math to make sure that we can do the things that we want to do, okay? As math gets harder, there's certain things that we can't just do if we feel like it. When we learn about order of operations, we have to go in a certain order, and these properties will help us. And let's go to the addition one, because the addition one will help us as well. We might be thinking a lot of different things here. You might be able to do mental math doing this, and something different might be going on in your head, and that's okay. But I'm going to show you what's going on in my head. Is that I see that this 6 and this 4 make 10, okay? So we have 30 and 6 as separate. I'm going to make those separate. And I have 30 and 4. Those are separate. And then I also have 25. Because 25 is not too bad of a number. Okay? So what I'm thinking in my head is, well, the 30 and the 30 make 60. I'm going to make that orange. 30 and 30 make 60. I have 6 and the 4 make a 10. And we still have 25. Now our mental math becomes a lot easier. We have 60 plus 10, which is 70. 70 plus that additional 20 in the 25. 70 plus 20 is 90. And then that other 5, which is 95. And that helps our mental math. So you might not be writing this all down. You might be doing this in your head. I'm just writing it down to show you.